Well, good evening, family. Welcome back to this 31-day challenge where each day during the month of December, Hendo and I will produce content related to our Baltimore Ravens. Tonight, we are just trying something different on this vertical live stream. So, Hendo, how are you tonight?
I'm well in yourself.
I am doing great. Thank you for asking. Well, Ravens are on a bye. That is a good thing. We were
hmm
able to have a stress-free Sunday. That's a tongue twister, but that's good. But even still, in the midst of that, we're able to see how some of our remaining opponents played today. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about. And of course, we leave it open. If anyone has something interesting or a question that they'd like us to answer, feel free to leave your questions in the chat, and Hendo and I will get to them. So, Hendo, we have 4 games remaining. The Ravens get back to work this week.
Right.
How are you feeling about our team right now?
I feel I feel a little bit better. I think the pressure may be off of us now with the Pittsburgh Steelers going to 10-3 beating the Cleveland Browns. It's going to be a daunting task for us to actually catch them for the divisional lead. Now, nothing is impossible, but they have another game against the Steelers. The Steelers play the Eagles next week, and the Eagles did not look like the dominant team that they looked like last week versus the Ravens. They actually struggled pretty bad versus the Carolina Panthers. And to me, they should have lost that game because I saw Xavier Legette catch the touchdown and roll into the end zone, but he trapped the ball. So technically, it's a possibility the Eagles should have lost and they can be beat. But the Steelers do also have to play the Kansas City Chiefs, who have not looked very dominant this season, and they end the season versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals can score versus the Steelers, but they can't stop them. So we need two of those teams to knock them off. And the Ravens also need to beat them. So I'm feeling okay, but I think now I have a clearer picture as to where we're going to be when it comes to playoff seeding. Now, there may be some things jumbled up because as I last saw, the Buffalo Bills were losing to the Los Angeles Rams. Like it was getting their butts whipped. So, the second and third seeds could flip flop depending upon how the season plays out. And we could end up playing Buffalo in the first round, which I would love.
Oh, yeah. Looking at how I'm starting with the Giants. So, Giants play today, the Saints, because that's our first opponent coming up
Okay.
in a week. Did anyone leave a comment in the chat? Did you watch the Giants game? Did you catch the highlights? All I know is that the Giants they lost. They came in second place, but no surprise there. Yeah, I just want to say hello real quick to everyone. I see you all in the chat already. Look, we promised you content, and so we are going to deliver good on our promise. So we are back today, just kind of talking through where we are as a team right now and looking at our competition. They all, most of the other teams, with the exception of the Texans, they were also on a bye this week. But just looking at our competition to see if the Ravens have what it takes to kind of turn the tide these remaining 4 games and really just go out there and dominate like they have not done all season. Yes, we've won games. We have. And someone mentioned arguably oh, I think we dominated against the Bills. Offensively, yeah. Offensively, yes, we did. We did. But
Defensively too.
defensive,
Held them to 10 points.
right.
Held Josh Allen to 177 yards. Like
Yeah.
they did their thing.
Okay. Then let's see more of that, but a step in the right direction or a better direction, because now we expect more from our defense from what we were what did we play them? Week 3, week 4, something like week 2, 3, whatever,
One of
earlier in the
those
season.
five or four.
Yeah. So, did anyone let me know? Did anyone catch the the Giants and the Saints? Because look, we face them in a week, and while I want to be confident that we're going to win this game, I want to just say hands down, we got this one in a bag. It's any given Sunday.
Right.
So, let me know if anyone knows the score for that game. Drop it in the
14-11.
chat. What'd you say?
14-11.
Okay. Well, there we go. 14-11. And how are you feeling about us matching up next week against the Giants?
It could be a trap game because we play down to our competition, but once they're starting their starting quarterback got hurt, Drew Lock came in the game and he actually looked well. Like he had the team moving where they were stagnant all game long. They couldn't really score. He came in, threw for like 230 yards in 2 quarters. He almost led them to victory. He drove them down the field for the game time field goal. It was just that that field goal got blocked. David Carr
Mm.
got hurt, and the Saints couldn't move the ball, and the Giants actually came back. They looked decent on defense, but to me, more importantly, is how are we going to come out this bye, and how are we going to look once we face them? You know, the first loss that Lamar Jackson ever had was to the New York Giants and Daniel Jones, but nor Daniel or Saquon is there. So, you know, we can go into this game overconfident. Like we can go in thinking, all right, because you know, I used to say this was a bye game. But just looking at how we've played, looking at how other teams have played, it's just I haven't seen us play a dominant game of football, like a truly
Mm.
dominant game of football, especially for the superstars that we have on this team. So I think
Yeah.
we're going to go in there and get a win. I think that should be a given, but you never know in the NFL. It's any given Sunday.
Username, welcome in. Will you guys give
Going
shout
on
outs? Yes, we will. And the only
all
thing
the time.
that we ask is that you keep it, anyone who's joining in the chat, we welcome you. We might have some first time family members, some first time viewers. Feel free to join us, weigh in. And the only thing that we ask is that you keep it clean. I see you, Tanja. Denise,
And
good
respect.
evening. And respectful. That's it. Thank you. Brandon, yes. 86 Ghost says vertical streams count as shorts. No, this actually counts as a live stream, but it counts for our promised content. When this is all said and done, come January 1, you will
Mm-hmm.
say, Yolanda, Hendo, they gave their word. They said in
Exactly.
November they were going to produce content every day, whether it was a short, live, or a video. They were going to produce content. And so that's what we are doing. Thank you, thank you, Anthony. Listen,
What?
Rams are up by 3 points. Okay, come on, Rams. Don't let
Whoa.
it be that close. What
Oh
quarter
my
is it? How much
God. It's
time
fourth
is
quarter.
remaining in that game?
I
Yeah,
know it's
Tanja,
late.
I didn't see
It
the
has to be
Giants
late.
game either. I was just like, no, no, thank you. I was too focused on the Cleveland Browns and the
It's
Steelers.
right.
But yes, that's right, cousin Davon. We are delivering all month. That's right. That's it. Denise has a question. Good evening, Denise. She wants to know, do you guys think the Ravens front office has failed on their draft picks? Ooh, that is a good question. And just like Denise did, if you have a question, feel free, drop it in the chat, leave a Q colon, and then your question. It just makes it easier for me to find. But Hendo, we'll start with you. Do you think the Ravens have failed on their draft picks?
Yes, because I had a stat to bring up, but this, I guess I'll segue into it from this. Do I think that they have failed? 100% they have failed. Throughout EDC's tenure as the Ravens general manager, he has had by far the most draft picks throughout the NFL.
Mm.
He continuously has between 7 and 11 picks each draft, and yet still we tend to bring in players that don't play for us. We draft them injured. They just have no impact. We cut them during training camp, and most of it has been towards the defense. But yet and still, we're still talking about we need to get defenders to come help this team out. But more importantly, the stat that I wanted to bring up is with Lamar Jackson as the quarterback of the Ravens this season. Did you know? What's up, Zeke? Did you know that the Ravens are 0-5
Mm.
when Lamar Jackson has a passer rating under 114.7?
Wow.
Now, no other quarterback in the league has a passer rating that high. So it's what it says is if Lamar Jackson isn't at peak Lamar Jackson form, the rest of this team is underperforming. And with all the high draft picks that Eric DeCosta has had, what are we doing here? The Chiefs are 9-2 when Patrick Mahomes doesn't have that high of a passer rating. Josh Allen is 5-2, maybe 6 if depending on how this game goes. But if Lamar doesn't perform, if Lamar is not out there giving an MVP type performance, we don't win. And a lot of people early in the season said that Derrick Henry was one of the front runners for the MVP. Well, Derrick Henry can have a good game, but if Lamar doesn't have a good game, we still don't win. Derrick has had games where he's had subpar numbers, but Lamar Jackson has either kept us in games or won for us. The draft picks that we have done nothing for us. The draft picks, especially on the offensive line for EDC, have not performed for us. None of his draft picks outside of Tyler Linderbaum right now is currently really contributing to the team. Roger Rosengarten, he's doing well. He's going to get better, so we really can't kind of gauge him right now. But outside of that, You have one person. You have one person on this offensive line to protect your greatest asset. So to me, yeah, I think he's failed this team miserably. And John Harbaugh's had some help in bringing in some of those draft picks.
Absolutely agree with you, Hendo. Denise, to answer your question, yes. The fact that we continue to hoard draft picks, we don't trade up in the draft. We don't relinquish those draft picks during the regular season before the trade deadline to get the best player available. We don't get the best free agents available. We just kind of go on the bargain and we just, say, well, we're going to keep our draft picks because, we have to have at least, two handfuls in order for us to feel safe. Well, even when you have that many and then you turn around and you look and you say, okay, how many of those draft picks are actually playing this year? Nate Wiggins. And I mean, when I say playing, I mean playing in the position to which you were drafted. Sure,
Mm-hmm.
we pick players. We pick Sanusi Kane, and we've seen him on special teams. We've seen, so we've seen players that contribute elsewhere. But in terms of the player that you were drafted in the position you were drafted, we have this year alone, we have Nate Wiggins. Trying to think. I
Right.
know I'm missing someone
Roger.
else.
Roger.
Roger Rosengarten. We've seen, I think, a couple of sightings of Sanusi Kane at cornerback. Just a couple.
He's been sprinkled in a little bit. TJ
Right.
Tampa's had a snap or two.
A snap or two. So when
Adisa Isaac, he's had a few snaps, but nothing to write home about.
I didn't even remember that Adisa Isaac had one or two snaps. I forgot about him.
Mm-hmm.
I did. I'm sorry. I did. That's how insignificant his contribution has been. So outside of like Nate Wiggins and Roger Rosengarten, nobody has really. And so how many draft picks did we have last year?
Yeah, like 9.
I want to say almost double digits here. So 8, 9 draft picks, and 2 of them are actually contributing this season. So we get players, we stash them for years to come down the line. But how does that bode for a team that says, I want to win this year? Mm-hmm. So that's a long answer to your question.
But another indictment on EDC is look at each and every draft that we have, right? Every draft that we have, whether it was good, bad, fair, or indifferent. After each and every draft, we have to go out and get free agents to replace the draft picks that aren't playing well. So if you're drafting well, why do we have to count on June 1st cuts? Why do we have to count on the trade deadline to bring in players that you've already drafted 2 or 3 times over each and every season? We bring in a cornerback, but we're talking about we need to sign a cornerback. We draft edge rushers, but we need to bring in edge rushers off the street. We draft offensive linemen, but we need to go out here and sign somebody else. So that tells me you are not doing your job at drafting. So you may need some help. So Joe Douglas, whatever you're doing out there, come on back home. Come help this team out because we need it.
Tanja, I hope the Bills I don't want them to win. That fan base can just they become really obnoxious very quickly. They don't they can stand a little bit of humbling. So I just
First of all, you cannot not be humble when you've lost 4 straight Super Bowls and you've never won one in your history. You have to be humble.
No, there's no sense of there's no sense of humility whatsoever right now. I understand historically that the Bills have gone to the Super Bowls and lost. They've come in second place repeatedly. I get that, but that's not in their mind right now. What's in their mind is tunnel vision. It's not, well, let's look at what we've done in the rearview mirror.
Well, they're not worried about championships. They're worried about an MVP. They don't care about a Super Bowl.
I'm just speaking of the spaces that I've been in for Bills fans. They are talking, they're talking 2 things. MVP for Josh Allen. Okay, fine, whatever. And then they're talking, we're unstoppable. We are the team to beat. Kansas City has flaws. We're going to the AFC Championship. We're winning it. We're taking down I was about to call them KFC. We're taking down Kansas City, and we're on to the Super Bowl. And we have what it takes to beat either the Eagles or the Lions, whoever comes out of the NFC. That's it. That's all I'm hearing. So that's why I said they could use a little bit of humble pie.
I mean, but if you know Bills Mafia and you know the history of the Bills outside of the Super Bowls, outside of the wild card game, they don't do well. Yes,
Mm,
they beat up on the 6th, 7th seed a lot, but then when it comes to the divisional matchups, and they don't do too well. And yes, they did take Kansas City to the wire that one game, which they love to talk about. But my
mhm.
question is, did you win?
Did you win
You
at
are
the
in the
end?
same boat that we are. We both made it to AFC Championship games and lost to the Chiefs.
Hmm. Davon has a question. And for those of you who are just now joining, if you have questions, please leave a Q colon in the chat and then your comment, and Hendo and I will certainly answer your questions. Will Deontay Johnson finish this season on the roster? I think he has to, because we don't know the severity or the extent of Rashad Bateman's injury. I think he has to. Now, would the front office, or namely, i.e., John Harbaugh, like to see it different? Thank you, Skeletor Gore. Thank you for the donation. I will read your comment in 1 second. I'll go and pull it up in 1 second. Thank you for the super chat. But I do believe he will finish the season on our active roster. How much playing time will he get? Now, that's a different question. I think that's going to depend on how soon we can get Rashad Bateman back into form.
Oh, listen, most definitely he's staying on the roster. It has nothing to do with Rashad Bateman. It has nothing to do with Nelly. Nothing to do with what is the kid's name? Ghost. Oh, uh, Tez Walker. It has nothing to do with none of those players. What it has to do with is if they cut him, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, the Pittsburgh Steelers may acquire him and use him for their playoff run. So it has nothing to do with us as a team. It's about preventing other teams from getting him and using him the way that he should properly be used.
Yeah, indeed. El Skeletor Gore, he said, EDC and Harbs need to need the door. They need to hit the door. Bring in a new GM and a new coach. Indeed. Indeed. But sadly, El Skeletor Gore, I don't see that happening, at least this season. Now, is it a possibility for next season? I don't know about the GM, but maybe maybe our head coach decides, hey, I'm ready to hang it up. I don't know. So I think we're stuck with what we have for right now in terms of leadership for this team. So now, in my mind, we have to figure out ways to win despite having John Harbaugh. That's kind of my mindset going into the next 4 games. And Tanja made a really good point earlier. She said, I hope Todd Monken is watching these games, the ones that were played today against the opponents that we face, so that he knows what he needs to do, how to dial up a good offensive game going into the Giants. Obviously, the Texans did not play, but the Steelers and then the Browns. And I want to say something. I see Shug in here. Hey, Shug, love how Ravens fans are overlooking the Steelers. We haven't gotten to the Steelers yet, Shug. I started by saying I wanted to talk about the Giants because we faced them first. Next item on the list is the Steelers. Since you're here, segue in. Hendo, can the Ravens...
Can I talk about Todd Monken first?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
You just didn't want me to say anything, did you?
Sorry, I'm trying to go through the comments. Sorry.
Listen, Todd Monken, as far as watching other teams, he doesn't even have to do that. All he has to do is look at tape when the Ravens win games. Look at how we've won games through the past, and that should tell you enough. Like, it should say, hey, we run Derrick Henry 20 plus times, we get the play action passing going, we win games. But hey, there's a rumor out there stating that Todd Monken may be looked at for a head coaching job next year. And I'm all for it. So I need him to do the best job that he can so he can leave. There's been speculation of bringing in Eric Bieniemy, which I thought we should have brought in a couple years ago. I'll take it. Listen, I'll take it. And I mean, let me get those things.
Ali, Ali says, "Sugar, ain't nobody cares. Nobody is thinking about the trash Steelers." Listen, speaking of the Steelers, they won today against the Browns. We play the Steelers in 2 weeks. Are we ready? Weigh in, sound off in the chat. Are we ready? If for those of you who got a chance to watch the Steelers and Browns game, are we ready? Hendo, what do you think? And before you answer, if we're not ready, can we get ready in 2 weeks? We don't have a lot of time. So okay.
We are not ready right now. We're not ready right now. Can we get ready? It remains to be seen. Like, I can sit here and give you stat upon stat upon stat and, you know what I'm saying, mentally psych myself up, but the proof is in the pudding. Last 9 games, we've lost 8 of them. And we've not looked good in a lot of those games, defensively or offensively. And today, the Steelers look pretty good. Like, Cleveland's defense isn't anything to spit at. And they played without George Pickens. And they went out there and they did the job that they needed to do. Can we beat them? Of course we can beat them. It's AFC North football. Like, we know them, they know us. But are we ready right now? It depends on how we go into that game. It depends on the game plan that we have. It depends on if we can minimize mistakes. Depends on if we can minimize mistakes and mentally prepare ourselves. And Lamar Jackson has to uplift this team because some of those guys just aren't ready. You know,
Yeah.
it's always been said, you are not a Raven until you beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we have guys on this team for years, for years that are not really Ravens because they haven't yet to beat the Steelers. So we can get ready, but it's all to me upon the leadership of this team to get us focused, to have us ready, to have us prepared, to not overlook the Giants. Because I think if we lose to the Giants by
Ooh.
some miracle,
Oosh.
the Steelers are just going to trample us if we lose to the Giants. Because I just
Right.
think that we're going to be so dejected coming out of a week bye where you had an extra week to prepare and then lose to them. We can do it. I hope we can do it because there is nothing more on this earth right now that I would like than to have Suge not be able to say anything to me in the Discord.
um, good point, Tandra. We are ready. Now, is Todd Monken and John Harbaugh, and I'm going to add to that, is Zachary Orr ready? But specifically on offense, are we ready to do what it takes to keep Lamar Jackson safe in the pocket and to protect our quarterback against TJ Watt in company and to create running lanes so that Derrick Henry doesn't just continuously get stuffed up the middle? And I agree with you, Dewan 100. Thanks for being here. Nope. Not until 77 and 65 hit the bench. Unfortunately, I don't see us coming off this bye week making those types of changes. Would it be nice to see? Of course. Of course. John Harbaugh alluded to that he thought that the Ravens offensive line did pretty well, could have done a little bit better in pass pro, and maybe some adjustment might be on the horizon, but he held it really close to the vest. I'm not banking on it.
I mean, if they don't make the move now, when? You've had extra time to prepare and put somebody else in there, get them the reps, get them the practices. If you don't do it this week, when are you going to do it? Because the way that it's looking, the Ravens may have to play out their schedule. They may have to play each. Normally, we get the last game off to prepare for the playoffs, but this year we might have to play each and every game, then play a wild card game. So that's 2 extra games that we may need to play. So if you don't make a change right now, when are you going to do it? Please don't decide during the Pittsburgh game or during the Houston game when you're going up against a great defensive front that now you want to experiment with somebody and then have Lamar get hit or hurt or something like that. So we'll see next week what they decide to do.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Thanks for being here, Gretchen, and everyone else. RG, Kenneth, I see all of you. Antoine, Ali has me cracking up over here about he's talking to Suge saying that we're going to absolutely beat the Steelers and their struggling offense. But listen, Denise said it. Steelers are playing complementary football. They're doing just enough on offense to get the job done. They were able to beat us a couple of weeks ago with field goals only. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. So, I mean, I appreciate your confidence. We'll see.
All right.
Mac
Let's go on.
King Cheese, welcome into the show. How about your Eagles? We talked about your Eagles quite a bit over here. We have over the last week, but I'm done with talking about them
Y'all got lucky.
until we see you in the Super Bowl.
First of all, I don't know. 'Cause
If
the way they look,
I
the
said
way they
wait,
look
I said
today,
if you make it, if you make it past the Lions,
I
but
thought y'all were going to destroy the Panthers, but
yeah, you barely skated out that game.
and if they had a legitimate wide receiver,
That would have been it.
y'all would have lost.
That would have been it. That's what I hear. That's what I heard. That the wide receiver, their rookie wide receiver, just kind of let them down.
He caught the ball. He caught it, then dropped it, and then tried to pick it up and roll it in the end zone. At first, I'm like, touchdown. They did it. Bryce Young, they did it, but then
Then
I'm seeing them go like this. I'm like, how? They show the replay. I'm like, come on, bro.
But thank you, King Matt King Cheese. Welcome into the show. Yeah, and shout out to the Eagles. They clinched,
They
you
did what they
clinched a
need to do.
playoff spot. So good for you. Good for you. Just know that we're coming for you. We are coming for you. So I think it's a consensus here that we do have what it takes to beat the Steelers. I'm going to go to the next game in a second. I think we have a consensus that we do have what it takes to beat the Steelers, but we just seem to self-sabotage when we go up against Mike Tomlin for some reason. And whether it's the penalties, whether that results in negative yards that just like totally stall drives, whether it's our inability for this O-line to hold up against elite defenses, whatever the case may be, we have what it takes. It's just we have to do it. We can't let the Steelers bring out a broom on us at the bank in 2 weeks. Just know. Just know. Tanja says, y'all see all these these overthrows Josh is having. Ooh, I would love to watch the game, but I'm going to catch the highlights tonight. But that is a great point. When Lamar Jackson has a day where he overthrows his wide receivers, it's, well, why don't you blame Lamar?
Right.
I wonder if Josh Allen is going to catch the same type of heat
Never.
for overthrowing his targets. So thanks for putting that in there, Tanjak. Thank you. Wanted to say, let me see. Oh, I see you, Jared Green. Thanks for joining. Thank you. I'll make sure to catch your replay. I'm sorry I missed it earlier today. We do have a question coming in from Funky Homo Sapien. Good evening there to you.
Good.
Who would you guys like as an OC if Todd Monken leaves? Weigh in the chat. Weigh in the chat. Let us know. Who would you like? Who would be a good complement and a good fit for Lamar Jackson and the players that we have right now on offense? Hendo?
I'm still go with Eric Bieniemy. Like, I thought he should have been the choice a couple of years ago. And just also for the simple fact that when he was the offensive coordinator in Washington, they complained to the newspapers and the media outlet that he was too strict. Like, he just had too many rules. And I think that's something that we actually need on his team. If John Harbaugh is going to continue to be the head coach, we need somebody that's going to hold guys accountable, make sure that they are disciplined, do what they're supposed to be doing, and know where they're supposed to be. We need somebody like that. If the players don't like him, I could not care less if he brings about results.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to give it some thought, and I'll let you know next live stream. Let me do a little bit of due diligence. I'm on the fence about Eric Bieniemy. I'm on the fence. I can see the positives for bringing him in, but to say a name right now, I mean, I'll take Kyle Shanahan. That, instantaneously, that's a name that I think if you put Kyle Shanahan with Lamar Jackson, you can't convince me that he would not maximize every bit of potential. Obviously, he's not going to be a candidate. He's a head coach unless they decide they want to can him because the 49ers are not doing very well this season. But outside of that, it would be someone who's comparable to a Kyle Shanahan, whoever that would be, who's available. So that's my initial answer, and I'll think about it and do some research and get back to you on that. So thanks for asking the question. And if you are just now joining, please do us a favor, hit the like button, double tap on that thumbs up for us. Hit the like button, whether you're watching on my channel or Hendo's, or if you just want to be real jazzy with it and turn on your TV on one and have your cell phone on the other, hit the like button. Double tap that like button for us. It helps our channels a ton. If you are new and you are enjoying this content, because we are bringing content to you 31 days this month of December, hit subscribe, turn on your post notifications so that you never miss an upload. Next team that we face after the Steelers, the Texans. How do you feel, gang, family? How do you feel about our chances to really go in and dominate against this team? And they have the same record as we do. They are 8-5. So they're not the same team that they were last year, but they're still exactly in the same spot that we are. How do you feel about it, Hendo?
I feel good about that game. Beginning of the season, not so much. Beginning of the season, looking at what CJ Stroud did last season and looking at how that team overperformed, even though we did beat them twice, I thought that they could be a real possibility of stuff with the acquisition of Stephon Diggs. But unfortunately, Diggs got hurt. CJ has regressed a little bit. The defense, they picked up Daniil Hunter, which I thought was an amazing move for them. They just haven't been able to put it all together, and they've been very inconsistent. Now, we've been kind of knocked for struggling against some of the bad teams in the NFL. They've lost to a lot of them. They've struggled and they've gotten lucky. So for me, I think that Christmas Day game is going to be a win for us. But the only thing that kind of gives me pause about that game and us actually going in and dominating is the 3 games in 10 days. Now, that is something that we also have to factor in with the Steelers game. Like, listen, we got the Giants, the Steelers, and the Texans all within a 10-day stretch. So physically, I don't know how this team is actually going to feel, but all intents and purposes, we should go in and dominate Houston.
Hmm. I disagree. I tend to disagree. Matt D, thanks for being here. He said Greg Roman. Bring Greg Roman back as our offensive coordinator. I don't know if he's joking. There's no emoji next to it. He could be very serious. So I'm just going to ask a question to that. Matt D, tell me why you would like to bring Greg Roman back to the Ravens now if we were to get a new offensive coordinator. But yeah, I saw that and I just said, I have questions. I just want to know why. Why? There was something I was going to say about about the Texans game. I don't know about that one. I don't. And whether you can say, all right, well, their quarterback, he's in a sophomore slump this year. He's not performing. They're still 8-5. They're still exactly where we are. So, I mean, and where do we play? We play them
Houston.
in Houston. Okay. It's an away game. We do play pretty well on the road, so I'll keep that in mind. This is not a open closed door type game. This is one that can go either way. It really can. So, and I think it depends largely on how we do against the Steelers the week before, because it's either we have momentum going into that game because we just, told the Steelers to sit down and have several seats, and we demonstrated that on the field, or we didn't. And then we come back with a vengeance because we didn't win. So I think that one
Well,
can go either way.
yeah, but my only kickback to you on your 8-5 is all 8-5s aren't created equal.
Right.
They play they play in the AFC South, where they play the Jaguars, the Colts, and who's the other one? In Tennessee and the Titans for 6
Right.
games out the year.
Yeah.
All 8 winning games, 8 winning game teams are not built the same.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah,
that's true. That's true.
if
Certainly.
if we were in the AFC South, we would already be division champs.
True enough. True enough. And then rounding out our season, let
Mm,
us know in the chat, how do you think we are going to fare against the Cleveland Browns? This is a team that has nothing to play for. Their season pretty much is over. Even if they go on a win streak, which today would have needed to be the day that they start that and didn't happen. But they have, they're going in there to say, hey, we're going to leave it all on the field because we have nothing. We don't have a shot in the dark. Our season's pretty much done. How do you think we're going to come out after playing the Browns?
I mean, it's a tough one. They've already beaten us,
They
so
have.
we can't sit there and say that we're just gonna go in there and dominate. Now they are missing JOK. He's supposedly out for the year with a neck injury, but
Yeah.
listen, Jameis Winston, you just don't know what kind of game you're going to get from him. You might get 160 yards and 4 interceptions, or you might get 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get from Jameis.
Yeah.
And depending upon, if they want to play for pride, that's a different thing. If we're playing for playoff seed, or if we're stuck in a specific spot, that's a different thing as well. So that game for me is hard to tell unless I know the circumstances actually going into it.
Yeah, that one's a bit of a mixed bag for me as well. I don't just put it past, put it past us that, like, oh, that's an easy one. We're definitely, the Browns are what, 4 and whatever. No, whatever their record is, it's one win against the Ravens. So I
Yeah, like,
don't, I don't take it lightly. And
mhm.
that's a game that, we struggle. That's a very good defensive front. Myles Garrett doesn't, we know this. So the biggest problem against these teams is the ones that we've named. There are a couple of them that have incredible defenses. And if our offensive line is not if we haven't made any changes, like I think it was Raven's third ring or Osmond, I can't remember who said it earlier. Unless 77 and 65 have seats on the bench, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Because says we have to win out. We have to. I mean, it would be nice. I don't see it happening. I don't. Let me know in the chat if we were to come in second place against any one of our teams that we have remaining, which team would it be? Which team would you think the Ravens would not be able to win?
Pittsburgh.
That's it.
That's the only one that I'm a little iffy about. I know we can beat Houston. We beat them twice last year. I know we can beat Cleveland. If we are on our game and we just had a defensive back that could catch, we would have beat Cleveland earlier this season. Pittsburgh, it's so many things that could have happened in that game that would have changed the outcome, but we have years of proof that we cannot overcome Mike Tomlin. Like, he has our number. He knows the Ravens. He knows us. He says we're predictable. And yes, John Harbaugh is an analytic-driven coach, and that's how he plays. And Mike Tomlin's like, that's not how we're going to play. But you know what? This is what we're going to do against you guys. And fatigue, like, it's a physical game. It is a very taxing game. That's why normally after the Steelers play the Ravens, the Steelers normally lose their very next game because it's very taxing. Yes. Sometimes it's the same goes with us. So that's the only game I think we could lose. But I mean, going 4-0, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised if we go out here these last 4 weeks and dominate every team we face.
Where is Danity? Danity, we need you to get Big Reg together. Big Reg, host of Big Boy Talk, who hopefully will be making his return back to YouTube in the foreseeable future, says this about the Ravens, that we are going 0-4 to round out the season. Do you agree with Big Reg that we are losing every one of our games from here on out?
Thank you, DDSQ. The Bills lost.
Thank you for the update. Thank you, DDSQ.
How does that season go with them and the Steelers? Because they have the same exact record.
They do.
So who goes to second?
I don't know.
Do they stay a second? Yeah, we have to check.
Yeah, we'll have to check on that. That might be for tomorrow's show.
Oh my gosh! Wait, what?
I got you.
Chill out.
I got you.
I would love to play I would love to play Buffalo in the first round. I would love to play Buffalo in the first round of the playoffs. Please let this happen. Please.
Davon told Suge, please just go take a nap, Suge.
That's right, Brandon. Reg Bayless, shameless.
But seriously, I want to hear from you in the chat because I'll tell you my opinion. I don't agree with Big Reg. I saw him say that earlier in Lunch Break Hot Takes live stream. Shout out to them. Make sure you go over to their channel. I don't know. I think I saw Jose earlier. My mind could be playing tricks on me. I'm doing so many live streams, I don't remember. They're running together at this point. But make sure you're subscribed to Jose and Brodney, two brothers out here just doing amazing work. And they did a live stream earlier, and I saw that where Big Reg said the Ravens are going 0-4. And I said, what? What? Big Reg, I respectfully disagree. I think we will go 3-1. 3-1. And I'm going to sadly, no, I'm not. I'm not giving that to the Steelers right now. No. I want to believe that we are going to win against the Steelers. I just don't know. But I think we're going 3-1. And that's how I think we're going to round out the season. Let me know in the chat. Thank you for the update, DDSQ. Bills lost. I'm happy about it. But they still clinched. They've clinched a playoff spot. But
it's good. The AFC least. It's the AFC least. What do you expect?
Right. No, but tell the truth. Truth be told, the Dolphins still think that they're in playoff contention.
I mean,
I'm just saying
there are only 2 losses. They're 2 losses out, but right now they're still behind Indianapolis. They both are 6 and 7, so 2 losses. So Denver is not a juggernaut. Denver is beatable. So if Denver loses a couple more games, there's a way that the Dolphins or the Colts could actually sneak into the playoffs. And if the Ravens lose 3 games, there's a possibility.
DDSQ says Bills stay at second due to conference record. Okay. Yeah. I mean, okay. Fair enough. But, and so with that, So even with this loss, there's still not going to be any type of humbleness coming out of it because it'll still be, well, we didn't need this game. It didn't matter to us. We're still in the second seed. So, but
Right. No,
whatever.
they're going to say, but Josh Allen did everything he could. It's just the team lost. He needs more help.
Exactly. Just what Ramsey J said. That's going to be the narrative. That's going to be, that's going to be what it is. Just Tornado, thank you for being here. She said she's sliding into her seat. She didn't know I was next up on deck. She just did a live stream on her channel. I have to go back and finish listening to it. Make sure that you go over for great daily inspirational content Monday through Friday, early in the morning, especially for us here on the Eastern time zone. And Shug, what do you mean Ravens fans are in their feelings?
You're not
You
going.
know what, Shug, I want to hear from you, Shug. I want to hear from you, Shug, after the Steelers game against the
Mm,
Ravens, because I think
mm.
you're going to be singing a completely different tune. So I give you credit. You beat us in the first time the first matchup. You did. Okay. That was
Okay.
weeks ago. Turn the page. There's between us and you, there's 2 weeks in opportunity, and we're going to take advantage of it. We're going to capitalize on it for sure.
Ain't nothing between us but air and opportunity. And I'm all for it.
That's what I'm talking about, Tanja. Big Rich, he be selling. I see him in these streets. I'm telling you, I'm like, wait, Reg says we're going 0-4. Are we going 0-4, family?
I
Are
bet
we?
you, I bet you if we sign Caillou, we'd be going 4-0.
Yes, let Reg tell it. If we sign Caillou, we would certainly have a winning season. We have a super chat, 4.99. Let me pull that super chat up.
Appreciate you.
Who is it from?
JT401.
Okay, there it is. JT401, thank you for the super chat for the 4.99. Bills have only beat 2 teams with a record above 500. Why doesn't that get brought up in MVP talks?
Because
Great question. Because they're
they're trying
pushing
to
a
push the narrative.
narrative. They're
Facts.
pushing a narrative right now, and you kind of gloss over the inadequacies. You gloss over the fact, like Tanja said earlier, he was overthrowing his targets left and right. You don't talk about that, okay? When you are trying to accomplish a mission, and the mission is he's going to be the league MVP. That's what they want.
Mhm.
So all of the idiosyncrasies, all of the weaknesses, all of the mistakes, we just
Listen, it is.
don't talk about
Listen, they don't. They first of all, they don't gloss over anything. It is all intentional because I've heard a lot of different sports broadcasting networks talk about when they speak of putting Josh Allen at the head of the MVP race, they talk about who he's beaten, but they never mention that he lost to Lamar. Like they
it.
always omit. They always omit that every time they talk about it. They never say, well, when they went head to head, what happened? He got dominated. They don't talk about these things, but it is what it is.
Shout out to 86 Girls, one of my channel members. Thank you and Hendo's channel member as well. Thank you. Callaloo is just as
It's Caillou.
disrespectful.
It's
He call
Caillou.
him, I know, he's being funny. He's calling the
No,
man.
no, that's how he spells his name, Caillou.
No, his name is KYU. The
No, no,
man's,
no. We're talking about the cartoon. We're not talking
oh,
about the man.
well, a minute ago we were talking about Caillou Blue Kelly when you
But
were
I call,
saying,
but I call him Caillou, the
oh,
cartoon character.
got it. He says, now you're talking. Get KBK and this defense becomes a top notch. Wait, okay. See, that's what I thought we were talking about. I thought we were talking about
Yeah,
this. Okay, sorry.
yeah. No, that's just the name we gave him because he's a cartoon character. He's made up. He's not real.
That's horrible. Okay, Shug said, Yolanda, you will see me after we play. I don't run and hide like Ravens fans in certain discourse. You want to drop names? You want to name drop?
No, 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 no. Don't do it. I know
I'm
who he's talking about. Don't
okay.
do it.
Well, don't do it then. Don't do it. If you have any final questions for us, let us know. Drop your questions in the chat. Q : and then feel free to ask your questions. So,
I got a
because
question.
yeah, sure.
Can Suge take it the way that he dishes it? He cannot.
Oh,
He cannot. You should hear Suge when Ravens fans go at him and he gets in his feelings. Like, why you guys making it personal? That's okay, Suge. I got something for you when you lose, bruh. Just make sure that you do not win this game. Because I got
he
something special planned for you, Sugarton.
Suge just says he doesn't run and hide. So win or lose against the Ravens, he said he's going to be here. I'm going to hold you to it. DDSQ says Josh Allen. Wow. Wow.
Right.
Touchdown
Right.
runs today. Wow. Okay.
Right.
Three
Yeah,
1 yard
get down
touchdown.
they get down to the 1 yard line and they
Mhm.
intentionally run the ball in with him to pad
Correct.
his stats.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. They have a narrative. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And Big Reg is defending his 0-4 record for us for the rest of the season. He says he's trying to keep it real. I'm still healing from the Ravens breaking my heart multiple times. Well, I'm going to pray for your healing, that you get what you need, the healing that you need. I mean, listen, that's what he says.
So you wishing an 0-4 for a broken heart?
That's
Like
how he
you
manages
are
his pain.
you are a bitter ex.
Oh, wow. Cameron Hines, good evening. Thanks for being here. If we go 0-4 or 1-3, can we just fire Harbaugh right there? Can we just do that? And, or will the owner keep him? Good question. I think because we've done so well thus far, and so by so well, I know we're 8-5. I didn't say that, we're undefeated or anything, but we've done well so far. The fact that we are, because if we go 0-4, would we still have a chance to make the playoffs? If
Yes,
we
but
are,
we won't.
and right, if we go 0-4 for the remainder of the season and we make the playoffs, I don't think we're going to fire John Harbaugh. If we skate in, this is the last seed to get in. But if we go 0-4 and we miss the playoffs, then I think that's actually a possibility. What do you think, Hendo?
I think he's getting fired either way. It's pretty hard for us to be 8-9 at the end of the season and skate into the playoffs, like sneak backdoor our way in. That'll be pretty hard. And even if we do backdoor our way in, the ownership has to see, like in the most critical point of the season, when we could have taken the lead in the division, we kind of crapped the bed. And then at the end of the season, we lose 5 straight games,
Yeah.
six out of 7. Then that tells me the leadership isn't doing what they're supposed to do. And I think finally Bisciotti will say, you know what? I don't want to do it, but something has to change. Harbaugh, you've lost this locker room. If we lose 5 straight games at the end of the season, the locker room is not believing in his message anymore. And I do believe that his message has already become stale. And
Yeah.
some players are actually tuning him out. But you lose 5 consecutive games when you at one point were the 5th seed in the playoffs. To be not in the playoffs at all, oh yeah, he's donezo.
Yeah. Good point. Good point. DDSQ wants to know, would you rather have the number 3 seed or 5 in the playoffs? Do y'all think the Bengals will win out? 2 great questions. I'll start with the Bengals winning out. I don't know who they have remaining on their schedule. If I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, I know they have the Cowboys. They
Yeah, I know
ended at
that.
the Steelers. They ended at the Steelers. I think they may have one more against the Browns. Maybe it doesn't matter. I think the Bengals can win out,
It
but it
depends who
won't
they
matter.
play and
But
where
it,
they
but
play.
it won't. But it won't matter because I think by that time, I think Pittsburgh will be slotted in whatever seed they have, and Pittsburgh isn't going to play their starters in Week 18. So I think that's a win for them because Cincinnati has nothing to play for. So all of their starters will be in the game
Yeah, they have
against the Cowboys tomorrow.
tomorrow against the Cowboys, and then they have the Browns. I think the Browns can give them a fit, personally. Then they have the Steelers. I'm sorry, Titans,
Oh
Broncos,
yeah,
Titans, Broncos. Broncos can give them a fit. They can. And then they round out their season against the Steelers. So
they can win
going,
5 straight.
I don't see it. I don't see a DDSQ, not looking at their schedule here. I think that they can win 4 games, but I don't see them, maybe
Oh no,
3.
they're not going to win 5 straight. They can win those 5 games, but they're
They
not.
can,
Their
but they're
defense.
not. Yeah,
Listen,
they're not. I
listen,
don't think they're going
listen.
to win out.
They
No,
are
they might get
they
3.
are 0-3. They are 0-3 in their last 3 games and have put up 99 points. They're averaging 33 points a game and
And
have gone
still
0 for
can't
3.
win.
And
And still
still
can't get the
can't
job
win a
done.
game. So nah, they can, but I don't think they will.
I don't
But
think they're
to
going
answer the
to.
question,
The first part of the question, Hendo, would you like to be the number 3 seed or 5 heading into the playoffs?
I could not care less. 3 through 5. It's still a wild card game. So for me, the only difference is one is a home playoff game, the other is not. Whatever seed gets me the Steelers, the Bills, and the Chiefs. Whatever seed gets me those 3 games, I don't care which one it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have a preference either way. Yeah, I don't have a preference on that. Do you, DDSQ? Would you? I know you are a Tampa Bay Bucks fan, but would you, if you were a Ravens fan, maybe you're a little bit Ravens fan, would you prefer 3 or 5 seed for us? And Big Cuz wants to know who is his team. I think he's referring to Reg. Reg is a Ravens fan, believe
Ravens,
it or not.
Ravens fan.
Believe it or not, he's just hurt right now, okay? And Killer Cam, welcome into the show. No, this is not a previous stream. This is a live stream that we are doing right now. But you came at the very tail end of the show as we are getting ready to wrap up. I know.
Another day.
I'm trying to see if there are any questions. Killer Cam, since you just joined us, hey, Justin, thanks for joining. If you have any questions for us, please go ahead and leave your question in the chat before we go, because we want to make sure that we answer all your questions. We got through ours. Hendo, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask the chat before we get ready to say goodnight?
When did we fire John Harbaugh?
Yeah, I don't know that we are this season. I don't know. I mean, maybe, like I said, if we miss the playoffs, okay, there's a strong possibility that could happen.
I don't care if we win the Super Bowl. We win the
We're
Super
not
Bowl.
even if we win the Super Bowl, they are not firing John. Now it could be a John Harbaugh saying, I've had enough. I want to turn in my credentials. I'm done here. That would be different. But the question was, when are you going to fire him? That wasn't, when are we parting ways? When is John Harbaugh getting out of the office? That wasn't the question. When are we going to fire?
I don't care how he leaves.
Okay. Good. Bills losing 2 in a row. Great. And Killer Cam says he thinks that we can beat the Bills in the playoffs. I do too.
Okay.
Their D-line doesn't scare me at all. Well, I'm not going to say at all, because I still remember that we have 77 and 65. So, I mean, there's still a little bit of,
Right.
3rd seed, we get home field advantage. But we seem to play better on the road. That's kind of, how I think about it. But DDSQ says he's with Hendo. Steelers, Bills, and Chiefs. Yeah. That kills the anti-Lamar narratives. All right.
And then Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff. It doesn't matter either one. Take them all out.
Pay the bills. Good evening. Thanks for being here. He said nobody. Oh, I mean, fire him now. Well, that'd be nice.
He has it better than us.
Everybody. Rodney, thank you for being here. Why does this look like an IG live? Because it is a vertical live stream. I do verticals on my channel. I've started them earlier in the season when I do my halftime check-ins. I've been doing those, and I mentioned to him, I said, let's just do a vertical live stream. I mentioned that to him the other day. He's like, all right, let's do it. So we're just here.
That's what I said?
Well, I mean, you said some other things like, why are you doing, that kind of stuff, but I wasn't going to go into all that. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions for us tonight. We are going to leave it right here, and you will see us back tomorrow. I can't guarantee you.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I told you we were going to do today.
Yeah.
Today.
You didn't let me finish. I was going to say, you didn't let me finish.
No. Today is 8 straight days of live streaming it. Tomorrow, I told you video.
Yeah, I was going to say that. You will see us tomorrow. You didn't let me finish. I was going to say you will see us back tomorrow, most likely in video form. We will resume live streaming probably later in the week because we need to preview.
No, not most likely.
Definitely. You're right, Hendo. We will definitely see you back later in the week when we preview the game against the Giants. I'm going to try and get a special guest on the show for that game to preview the matchup. So stay tuned. You never know what you can expect. But thank you all for joining tonight. Thanks for being here. Right. Oh, I see a question. See, y'all wait to the last second to ask questions, but I'm going to take the question because it's from one of my channel members. Question 86 Ghost wants to know, why is Hendo a hater, but not Big Reg?
Because Hendo's not a hater. That's why.
I don't know. MDT Sports, he said, y'all doing another live stream tomorrow? No. We did 8 straight live streams. So tomorrow you will find us on our respective channels. most likely in video form. As I mentioned earlier, for those who are just now joining, we are doing a 31-day challenge where each day this month we are releasing a form of content, some type of content, whether it's a live stream, a short, or a video. Most likely you'll see us on our respective channels tomorrow in video. But thank you all so much for joining. Thank you for being here, and we will see you very soon. Until next time, you take care, stay safe, and always remember, go Ravens.
All right, Hobble.